Congratulations. You just hatched. Well, you were just born. In a narrow den your mother dug out of the dirt. Your eyes are still closed, your body is about the size of a palm, and right now, you're one of the most fearless, or, depending on how you look at it, one of the most reckless mammals on the planet. But you don't know that yet. Right now you're just small, blind, and completely dependent on your mother. Humans call you the most fearless animal on the planet. Documentaries portray you as a legend that stares down lions and shrugs off venom. Sounds pretty amazing, doesn't it? But here's the truth. This so-called fearlessness actually means spending every single day of your life dealing with an injury, a fight, or an infection. Good news! You're probably a human watching this video right now, and no one has ever thrown you into the middle of a pride of lions. Bad news! You're about to learn just how heavy a price comes with the title, Nature's Most Fearless Animal. Because courage, most of the time, is just a fancy word. What's actually happening is a constant cycle of injury, conflict, and forced survival. Welcome. Your fighting clock has already started. Anatomy, an overhyped war machine, thick skin, armor, or a misunderstood weakness. Let's start with your skin. The skin covering your body is roughly 6 millimeters thick and incredibly loose and elastic. Thanks to this, you're nearly immune to bee stings, scorpion stings, and even some smaller bites. Your skin is so loose that if something grabs you by the scruff of the neck, you can literally spin around inside your own skin and turn to face it. But this armor isn't as safe as it looks. Thick, loose skin might protect you somewhat from major bites, but it doesn't stop small cuts, scratches, or the risk of infection. Living in the wild with no stitches and no antiseptics, every small wound is a potential source of infection. And you're not exactly a cautious animal that's going to sit still and tend to your wounds. Your personality simply won't allow it. Venom resistance, a superpower, or a persistent gamble. Let's talk about your resistance to venom. Scientists have discovered that the receptors in your immune system that bind to neurotoxins in snake venom have mutated. This mutation largely prevents the venom from blocking your nervous system. That's why when a cobra or a black mamba bites you, you don't die instantly like most animals would. You just get knocked out for a few hours. But here's the critical distinction. This resistance doesn't make you invincible, it just makes you somewhat more resilient. A high enough dose of venom, repeated bites, or a body that's already exhausted and injured can easily overwhelm that resistance. So you're a creature that thinks it can safely fight any venomous animal, when really, every single time, you're just gambling. Poor eyesight, the hidden reason behind your courage. Maybe this is the real reason behind your fearlessness. Your eyes actually aren't that good. Your visual acuity is quite low compared to many mammals. You can't clearly make out a threat at a distance, which means you can end up attacking an animal without fully understanding how big or how dangerous it actually is. Scientists interpret this not as courage, but as a lack of information. In other words, you're not actually fearless, you just can't fully see what you're attacking. And this drags you into far more fights you're going to lose than fights you could actually win. The digestive system, the price of being able to eat anything. Your opportunistic eating habits make you a creature that can eat almost anything. Scorpions, snakes, hedgehogs, even carrion sometimes. But this flexibility doesn't come for free. Your digestive system has to process the potential toxins, spines, and parasites of everything you eat, which means your body is constantly operating under a low level of stress. Every meal is a small risk, one that's necessary for your survival but that also wears you down at the same time. The survival struggle, the cost of growing up alone. The moment you leave your mother, you're about to spend the rest of your life completely alone. Honey badgers are extremely solitary animals. You don't live in groups, you don't cooperate with anyone, aside from honey guide birds, and even when you find a mate, that partnership is limited to just a few days of mating. This solitude is both a strength and a weakness for you. A strength, because you depend on no one. A weakness, because when you're injured, sick, or exhausted, there's no one to protect you, hunt for you, or support you. Every crisis is a crisis you have to get through entirely on your own. Who do you think is hunting you? You've probably heard the myth that the honey badger has no natural predators. That's partially true, but not entirely. Lions and leopards, Even though they don't usually see you as worthwhile prey, they can hunt young or injured individuals whenever the opportunity arises. Your aggressive attitude usually deters them, but not always. Hyenas. When they attack in a group, your odds as a lone animal drop significantly. Large snakes, species like pythons, have enough strength to coil around and suffocate you. Your venom resistance is of absolutely no use here. And humans, because of the damage you do to livestock, you get trapped, poisoned, or shot in many regions. Did you know that your reputation as the most fearless animal on the planet doesn't reduce your conflict with humans? It actually increases it? The cost of constant fighting. That reckless aggression your species is so famous for comes with a heavy long-term bill. Every fight means a potential injury. Every injury means lost energy during recovery and a risk of infection. As the years pass, your body fills up with the marks of old wounds, torn ears, permanent scars on your skin, sometimes missing toes. From a human perspective, these scars might look like a heroic story, but biologically, every scar represents a portion of your body's resources that was spent on that fight and will never come back. Sharing a kill with lions. A fight you can't win. There are moments when you try to take back an animal you worked hard to hunt from a much larger, numerically superior group of lions. Your courage drags you into this fight, but the math isn't on your side. A single honey badger cannot beat 5 lions. In these moments, the only way to survive is to back off. But that goes completely against your nature. This internal conflict between your courage and your survival instinct creates constant tension. Cooperation with the honey guide bird. A matter of trust. Your famous cooperation with honey guide birds is actually based on mutual trust, but that trust doesn't always pay off. Sometimes the honey guide bird doesn't lead you to a beehive, but instead toward a dangerous snake or another predator's territory. As you follow the scent and the bird's lead, you're actually walking blindly into a risk. You don't get to choose whether to trust it or not, because your instincts have already put you into motion. So what have we learned from all this? Being a honey badger means having skin that only partially protects you, having venom resistance that's a gamble rather than a guarantee, having courage that's really just a lack of information caused by poor eyesight, and living a life spent completely alone, unable to rely on anyone. Right now, as you watch this video, you're probably sitting comfortably in a chair. Your body has no fight scars, and you don't have to worry about a pride of lions chasing you down to steal your kill. Nature isn't graceful, isn't fair, and is certainly not merciful. But for a honey badger, what we call fearlessness is really just the daily struggle of an animal that has no other choice but to survive. Next time you see a honey badger in a documentary, under the title, "The Most Fearless Animal in the World," give it a little respect. It carries on a life far more brutal than you could ever imagine, entirely alone and without ever stopping.